How's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny, and that includes gravity knives. And if you read the title of this video, I carried this knife for 30 days straight. You might wonder, why did you do that? Don't you have like 1,000,001 knives? Well, it's true. I do have a ton of knives, but you know, I see comments from time to time, not just on my channel, but on other channels where people are like, that's great. You know, you reviewed it, you stick it in a drawer and all's well that ends well, but you don't really use your knives, right? Well, that's not necessarily true. It does just so happen to be that when you have a bunch of knives, your knives may look like they never get any use because you rotate through so many of them that most of them don't see a lot of singular purpose, singular everyday use every single day. And it made me wonder, you know, I liked this knife when it came out. I really liked it. I considered it to be one of the contenders for knife of the year. But if I'm going to do that, I really have to put it through its tests. I have to see what it's like to live with it. You know, it's not a cheap knife. It was like $260, $280, something like that. Original version of the Reate Exo M. This specific one is going to be serial number 362. And if you can see that birth date, it was born January of 2023, which means that it's about to hit its birthday. If you want to get it something nice for its birthday, go ahead and tap on that like button. That's a good birthday present, right? The whole point was to see what is it like to live with what is considered, and I say that, considered to be the most illegal knife ever. The gravity knife. Dun, dun, dun. What is it like? Did I get arrested? Did I get in trouble? Did I scare little children with my super dangerous, super illegal gravity knife? Or did it perform like I expected it to? That's the whole point of this. Now, I carried this in the month of September, and I always made sure, no matter whether I was just carrying this knife or whether I was carrying this knife and another knife, I always made sure that this was the most used knife. And I don't know if you could tell by that blade, this knife has seen quite a few cardboard boxes. My primary use for knives, and this is kind of a depressing admonition, is opening up boxes that contain other knives. That is my lot, my self-selected lot in life as a EDC content reviewer. I open up a lot of boxes, and then I have to do something with those boxes because I don't reuse all of them. I have to break them down and send them to the garbage. And so my knives actually do see some use, and cardboard is actually really not that great on knife edges. Now this one is the variant, the first version of the Exo M that comes in 3V steel. And so first I want to talk about how the edge held up. Well, you might notice, for one, that the edge still has some tape residue on there. You know, that it goes through the tape, it gunks up. Now, typically what I would do is after I use the knife, I would strop it up, you know, just a few swipes, clean the edge, you know, sometimes hit it with a little bit of rem oil on the blade to, you know, help clear off any tape residue. As you can see, the last time I used it, I did not do that. So I'm probably going to need to do that here soon. 3V is extremely tough, but it's not known for its amazing edge retention. That's fine because it also means that it's going to be easy to sharpen. And I've already sharpened it. I sharpened it because I processed probably somewhere in the realm of, you know, 20 or 30 boxes. And then I wasn't satisfied after stropping. So I went ahead and just, you know, put a 20 degree per side edge on there. And it actually has better edge retention now. Something that I've actually seen a few people alluding to in the comment section is that it's actually much better to put your own edge on a knife from factory because those factory edges come from belts. The belts make the edge very brittle because it is essentially applying more friction, more heat to the edge, which gives it its own extra heat treat, and so it makes factory edges easy to chip. But also factory edges usually have these bevels that are really shallow. You know, you don't see much bevel, and that's one of those things they do for toughness. But when you put your own edge on there and you make the edge angle more acute, you drop it, it will get better edge retention. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, that is 100% the result that I faced when I was processing boxes. Now, I've also done things like, cut up fruit and apples and stuff. And, I've used this to cut open bags and, basic EDC type stuff. And one of the things that I've come to realize is that this is, in fact, a really good knife for EDC. And it's a really good knife for EDC specifically for a number of different reasons. The first is going to be one-handed manipulation. I don't care if you're left-handed, right-handed. This is easy to manipulate one-handed. There are 1 total opening options. Now, I also think that it's important that a good EDC knife is fidget friendly. And when I say fidget friendly, I'm not talking about having a bajillion deployment options. I'm talking about how satisfying is it? What's your deployment enjoyment? Is it something that you enjoy handling? Is it something that you enjoy carrying? That's what makes it fidget friendly. Fidgeting is not doing a million things at once. It's just doing things. Do you want to do things with this knife? And this specific version is extremely enjoyable to carry, to pick up, to use. The deployment enjoyment is next level. Now, some people might see this as kind of a gimmick, but OTF automatic knives have been around for a long time, and so has regular gravity knives. The main difference is that an OTF automatic knife is spring driven, and it has a whole lot that can go wrong with it. There is not a whole lot that can go wrong with this. Even with the lock, it's very simple. Slide in, slide out. You want to lock it? Lock it. Is there rattle? Yes, there is rattle. It has to have rattle so that it can operate inside and out. Do I expect to see improvements over time? Sure. I would love to see Grant and Gavin Hawk come out with a knife that is a out the front gravity knife that has no rattle, no lockup, and still functions perfectly. If they do, it'll probably end up being something ridiculous like $1,200. Looking at you, Grant and Gavin Hawk, you know who you are. Something else that I noticed is that this micarta version started to get pits in the micarta. Now, I'm pretty sure that's just wear and tear in the pocket. It's weird. It's like the micarta has voids. The funny thing is if you look on the clip side, that's the side that is always going to be up against the side of my pocket and have the least amount of content with other crap in my pockets. It still looks like it did when it was brand new. Very smooth, no voids, no nothing. And then on this side, the side that's always going to be facing anything else in my pocket. And yeah, it's weird. Like I can feel a texture difference. It's micarta. I know that I could probably order aftermarket inlays for this. I'm actually considering getting potentially some fat carbon inlays. I think that would be cool. Or maybe some dark matter carbon fiber inlays. That would be cool. The inlays are really easy to put in and take out. You just got to, remove these screws and talk to a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy. If you know a guy that does these inlays, let me know. I might have to reach out to Carbodize or one of the other mini customizers. Did I miss my other knives? No. Something that I want to bring to mind is the carry profile. This is my TRM Shadow in Merlot micarta. Love this knife, by the way. Excellent American-made, utility-driven, user-friendly EDC knife. A lot of people love this knife for EDC. I do. However, you'll notice that the carry profile on this Shadow is a lot wider. I'm not saying that this is going to take up all the room in your pocket, but I would compare this to something like a Spyderco as far as carry profile. This is going to be thinner and easier and also less noticeable. No children were scared in the filming of this video. Not one time did anyone come up and talk to me about my super illegal gravity knife, which is actually not illegal here in Colorado. It is illegal to carry in some city areas. So you know what, like if you have to be completely straight edge and play by all the rules, maybe you're afraid of the law, then sure. You might want to stay out of certain cities with this knife. But what I've come to find is that if you're not an idiot, if you're not out there causing problems, it's not going to be a problem. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm just saying if you carry your knives responsibly, most of the time it's not going to be an issue. There are certain states that are really militant about their knife laws. And then there's states where they have knife laws, but most people just don't have any issue, even if they don't exactly know what they are. Again, seek out your own legal counsel. But I've never had any issue carrying whatever I wanted, because when I'm carrying my knives, I am focused on not being an idiot. Sometimes that's easier said than done. Availability on this knife has greatly increased from the initial drop, and this is a first batch drop. And I know that when these released, people had 2 complaints. The first complaint was, well, great, cool knife, can't find it anywhere. Guess what? They're available. I'll link to all the places that I know where you can currently buy one. Some of those will be affiliate links. If you're actually wanting to buy one and you were one of the few that didn't know that they are now in fact available, feel free to use one of those links. If you use one of my affiliate links, of course, it helps out the channel. You don't have to, but if you were looking for one, maybe there's a website that you didn't know had one and it has one. Maybe it's got the right one. Another sticking point for a lot of people was the blade steel. 3V is not attractive to a lot of people. I don't mind it because I can put my own edge geometry on there. And if you listen to experts, like I'm a big fan of Dr. Laren Thomas. He's a known quantity here in the knife community, and he will tell you himself, he's on the record saying this, that while the knife steel properties are definitely important, the most important thing for edge retention is actually going to be the edge geometry. If you want to have a knife with better edge retention, go ahead and give it a more acute edge angle, widen up that bevel, and that will greatly increase your edge retention. How about that? Something you can't increase with just sharpening your knife: toughness. You also can't increase corrosion resistance, which is why I'm sure that that's the main reason why Reate is now making these in different knife steels. I've seen these released in LMAX as well. I'm sure we'll see a version in MagnaCut. I know that a lot of people are going to be looking forward to that. But also you can get it with different inlays if micarta isn't your jam. I desperately want to see one of these in dark matter carbon fiber inlay. But I don't know if I want to buy a whole new one, because I actually really do like the 3V. It's very, very tough. I haven't had an issue with edge retention, even processing through lots of boxes in the month of September. And I know I'm releasing this video in November. What took so long? I've been busy. Don't judge me, okay? Sometimes I have to prioritize other things, and sometimes it just takes me, an extra month to organize my thoughts and to, come back to this. But I opened up my notes today and I was like, it's time. It's time that we release this video. The only question left to answer that I asked myself at the beginning of that carry phase was, would I recommend this after carrying this long term every single day? Would I recommend this? The easy answer is 100%. This is a simple knife. If you don't like a drop point, you can get it in a tanto. If you don't like a tanto, you can get it in a dagger blade. If you don't like a dagger blade, you can get it in a worn cliff. That's right. They actually make full-size locking versions, and I'll include a link to that as well. So if you wanted a full-size version, maybe you didn't like the length of the blade, you can get one now, and they make those exclusively with a super utilitarian blade shape, Warncliffe or reverse tanto, whatever you want to call it. They make a mini version in case you wanted it smaller. They make a larger version in case you wanted it the OG size. And then, of course, they make it this size, which is the Reate Exo M. And this one is actually, in my opinion, the best for regular EDC carry, because it's not a tiny knife. It's not a small knife. It's big enough to get the job done. It's fun to handle. The ergonomics are not annoying. The rattle is not an issue. The lock has not become an issue. I've never once had this lock fail. The balance is good. I have no quality fit and finish complaints about this knife. Is it still a contender for 2023 Knife of the Year? You betcha. Did you buy one of these? Do you have one of these? Are you on the fence about one of these? If not, why not? Let me know in the comment section down below. And guys, if you want to watch more knife content, make sure to click on one of the videos that pops up next.